Alright, so it's definitely been a second since I filmed one of these. I don't even know which one it is. It'll be in the title, I guess. But, it's not that I forgot about this thing that I'm doing. I've been really busy, and I think I've been kind of depressed. I think I've been depressed for a while. I know I've talked about it before, but it's really apparent right now. It's pretty apparent right now. And yeah, I am under the influence of alcohol and of the devil's lettuce at the same time, which that happens. I do that often, which is bad. And I was making this video to address a few things or whatever. Just the next step in like what I want in approaching life coming up. It's just, I'm gonna be 24 pretty soon, and 23 really fucking sucked. Like real bad. Hasn't been a great year. 22 wasn't much better. So I'm just like ready for it to be over, and I'm ready to move on to the next part of my life. Pretty soon here, me and my roommate are gonna be moving apart from each other, and honestly, I think he's going to end up getting a job and moving somewhere and following his work, because he works with a restaurant. He's about to be bumped up again, promoted, and at that point he can pretty much apply anywhere at his restaurant where they have locations, and you know, be a kitchen manager or whatever over there, you know. And so, you know, it's good for him, and I'm happy for him. It's just that leaves me having to find a new place to live, because honestly, I wasn't really thinking about leaving this current place that I've been in this whole time so far for like at all. Like I was like locked in on this place for Corpus. Like if I were to stay here in my hometown, which I don't even know if I've mentioned that I'm from Corpus before, but not like it matters. But yeah, I was set on this place, but honestly, now that I got a dog, because I didn't have a dog when I moved in, but I rescued her about a year ago, a little longer, like a year and a half, and I want a yard for her. I want a space for her to run around. Like, I live near a school, and they have a fenced-in track, so I'll take her over to the school often, like almost daily, and you know, let her run around and get her zoomies out or whatever, you know. But I feel like it's not enough. And last time I lived in a house that had a yard, I spent more time in my backyard than I did in my own house. So I definitely want a place with a fenced-in yard. You know, I like to spend my time outside if I can. The only reason why I don't here in my apartment is because we don't have like a private area, like a you know, like a fenced in anything. So it's a little bit more difficult. So I'm trying to rent a house and possibly rent out a house with my friend, another friend, because at this point the economy is shit and it's very expensive to be alive. And having a roommate or whatever is more ideal than not, because it, you know, makes rent cheaper for everyone. So kind of sucks, but like, fuck are we supposed to do about it, you know? So but no, I really wanted to make this video because I have been doing a lot of like reflection lately about like myself and like how I express myself as a person. And I like really like want to embrace my LGBT-ness. I don't know how else to say that. I just like, oh, I don't want to be perceived as a straight man, and I think I'm suffering from loneliness. And before y'all kill me, hear me out. Okay, give me a sec. Yeah, there is a male loneliness epidemic, but in the sense of men have been acting so heinously forever that women and various other groups of people do not feel comfortable around men anymore. Therefore, they are distancing themselves from men, to say, decentering their lives around men. That's perfectly fine. I don't think that we should be centering our lives around anyone besides yourself. Gender, whatever, regardless, maybe, like your family, I don't know. But I will say I'm no longer friends with people who center their lives around a certain sex, men or women. Like, anyone whose sole purpose is to, like, find a partner and, like, settle down. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but, like, and you can want that and you can do that. And that's perfectly fine. That's your life. But, like, if that's what you center your life around and that's your sole purpose, is that you're, like, existing to, like, only date people. Because I've been friends with a lot of these people, and I've been coworker to a lot of these people, because honestly, I'm not even friends to these people. Again, I don't have these people in my life. It's more of like, I don't have the choice to hang out with these people. So, I had a coworker, and all she would want to do is, like, she would just talk about all these boys that she'd be seeing, dating, talking to, whatever. And it would be the same stories recycled over and over and over. Like, it wasn't changing. And that's why, because she wasn't decentering men from her life. That was it. She just wanted to find a good man. And guess what? She still hasn't. And I haven't worked with her for over a year. It's just a lot of, like, that's just one example, though. And again, that is just something that she is going to have to deal with for the rest of her life, right? So, like, it's not my place to judge. I just can't talk to people who only talk about men or women. Like, same thing with dudes. If a dude is just, like, the same thing, if he's just, like, talking about all the chicks that he's seeing, all the people that he's hooking up with, and blah, 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 I lose interest, because that's not the most, like, important aspect to life. And it's like, brother, like, the reason why all of your relationships are failing is because you can't, like, maintain like an honor code or whatever. Like men be shitty. So yeah, there is a loneliness problem happening because people are so focused on that and in the roles that they must fulfill in society. It's all fucking stupid. And so that's why I really value, like, honesty and, like, openness and queerness, because I find it relatively difficult to conversate and maintain relationships with people who are not, like, culturally queer. Like, you can be gay, but it's one thing to be gay and it's one thing to be queer. Like, I don't know, the difference is that, like, I can't even explain it to you. It's just like one feels store-bought, one feels homegrown, if that makes sense. I don't really have any better words to explain the difference between somebody who just claims to be gay and somebody who claims to be like again, like, queer or whatever. And you don't even have to, like, accept that. You could say that you're gay, but, like, culturally you understand the community that you're a part of, because, like, MAGA gays are not, like, that is a thing. It's just a very strange, like, nuanced, like, conversation that doesn't get talked about enough, in my opinion. But that can be another conversation for another time. But yeah, I was really, like, moved moved, I guess, yeah, moved by a video that I saw, just like highlighting like historical, like important figures for the LGBT community. And it was a TikTok, but it was a beautifully put together TikTok. And it made me do some reflecting, because I feel like I have been reaching a very like isolated point in my life, because I've realized that I don't fit into anywhere. There are no transgender men safe spaces, and I say that not trying to, like, again, I'm not trying to play a victim card. Like, this is fully this has happened because of the ostracized, whatever you want to fucking say. Men did this, okay? Like, again, this is no one else's fault except for fucking men. Like, low-key, everything can be blamed on men. Women are just better. Anyways, but no, I don't fit into women's spaces because I'm not a woman. I don't look like a woman. I don't sound like a woman. I'm not trying to claim women's, things. I'm not trying to, like, get canceled over this, but, like, I find it almost strange to have a trans man to have a child, like, that he birthed himself, carried and birthed, because, like, why are you transitioning to a man who biologically don't have children and then having a child? It's like, in my brain, because this is my opinion, and again, at the end of the day, I don't have a problem with seahorse dads. It's just like, my brain, I would end it. Like, I would end it. If I got pregnant and I couldn't get rid of it, find a way out of said pregnancy, I would probably suffer so much mentally due to the fact that in my brain, men are not equipped to carry life like that. And that's kind of like something that I've accepted, like, very early on within my transition, that I will never carry life. I can adopt, I can stepfather, I can, like, foster, whatever. I could even, like, surrogate or pull the fucking eggs out of me. I don't know, but, like, to carry the human body in my life, in my body, that is something that only women should do because of how magical and how, like, sacred and how, like, spiritual it is. I feel like it's not my job to do that. So whenever I see trans men pregnant, I'm just like, okay, like, I'm not fazed by it, but I can't do it. And I can't understand why those men want to be pregnant, because pregnancy is strictly a female thing, which I know it's not, because men get pregnant, trans men, but it just doesn't compute in my brain. So I'm just like, why would you do that? Like, I don't care that y'all are like a T for T couple, just fucking, like, at some point, because I know what it takes to get to that level, you have to do hormone supplements and treatments and all these things to get those things going. So you basically have to, like, detransition for a little bit, be pregnant, and then get back on hormones and go through that whole process again. It's not ideal. Like, it's just a crazy sentiment to me. And again, if that's how you make your family, that's cool. And, like, all power to you. It's just not for me. And socially, especially with the fucking weirdos out there right now, nobody's gonna fucking understand. Nobody's gonna understand it unless you're culturally, like, woke, queer, cool, if you're chill. And, like, again, I guess this is the most, like, not biased, what the fuck am I trying to say? Like, the hottest take I have, perhaps. I'm pretty woke, but in my brain, I'm not that woke to have children out of my own body. So, and again, all power to the seahorse dads that have done that before, but I can't inject myself with female hormones or whatever, or stop my hormones just to get pregnant. Like, that's not something that sits right in my brain. So, and it's quite unfortunate too, because like, life is precious, and you know, like, pregnancy and birth is an incredibly complicated process, and it reaches generations. I mean, like, your grandmother carried you in her own body, because whenever she created your mom, she had you in your mom's ovaries. So you've always been linked like roots in the earth, in this life. So it's just so out of my range and out of my depth, and something that I don't think about for myself, that whenever it dawned on me that I could still get pregnant or whatever, it just changed my brain chemistry. Like, that is not something that I want at all. I think I might have the phobia of pregnancy or whatever, but like, I think the phobia comes from the fact that my gender, and honestly, at this point, my sex is not even female anymore. Like, sure, my chromosomes might resemble that, but like, my anatomy, my sex parts, the way how my internal organs work, I no longer have periods. If I was still a female, I would, right? Like, for the most part. I know that some people don't, but like, usually, you know, so you tell me. It's just complicated and nuanced, and just there's more conversation to be had than what has been now. And there's more research that needs to be done that has not been researched on, because doctors insist that the female anatomy, the female hormonal system is too complicated to work with. I don't give a fuck how complicated it is. These are real human beings that need to have the accurate research done so that they can have the best solutions. Why are you not going to do that on the people that you're going to do said procedures on or whatever? It never made sense to me, because men fucking suck, and we don't want to fucking do the work because we're fucking lazy, and we think that the women are going to pick it all up for us. I mean, like, there are so many instances in history where women have done the brunt of everything. They are the brains and the brawn, but they will never be recognized because a man took credit for their fucking work. It pisses me off every fucking time. And I swear to God, I always say, anytime I ever work as an equal or whatever to, like, I make sure that the women around me feel valued and not overlooked. Like, I have all women managers, and whenever a customer comes up and only addresses me for something that I don't know, and I pass them off to my manager and they still try to talk to me, I'm like, fuck you, listen to my manager. I don't give a fuck if she's a girl, if she's a boy, if she's an it, they, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. You're gonna listen to her. You're gonna listen to her, and you're gonna get the information that you need from her, because she knows better than me. And that's how authority works. So, doesn't matter what gender your fucking boss is, that's your boss. And sure, question authority, but whenever it's questionable. Whenever somebody comes into my shop asking to find where a beach umbrella is at, and let's pretend I just don't know where our beach umbrellas are, and I say, hey, manager, do you know where our beach umbrellas are? And they say, oh, why, yes. And they talk to the customer. I expect the customer to look at her in the eyes, not at me while she's answering them. So I look away from the customer and I keep looking at the manager. Like, it's just the small things. It's the respect, you know, it's the acknowledgement of power. I used to be a manager. I'm not anymore. I was supposed to have a promotion to manager at the place that I work, but they changed their minds and hired people from the outside to fill in those gaps, and that's fine. Honestly, I don't really care. I don't want extra responsibility, especially at this fucking place, but nothing wrong with my job. It's just like, I'm tired of being a manager. I was the kitchen at my last job. I was the manager, the person who ordered the food, the chips, the everything, the ingredients every week. I made my own schedule. I'd come in when I needed to. Like, I did everything. I did the orders, I did the dishes, I did the cleaning, I did the closing, the opening. I was the kitchen. I was the only person hired for the kitchen for a while. And I had to leave that job because I was so overwhelmed with that job in the school that I was about to fail my school. So I had to leave that job, and I came to this job, and they wanted to promote me, and I was like, you know what, I'll take it. And then they said, never mind. Also, I think I have a lot of haters at my job because I had a lot of people, I don't even want to say like tattletaling, because no, I did that stuff. I talked about stuff, but it was perceived incorrectly. And I feel like people took the words that I said and formed them into something that I didn't say, because they didn't want me to have the position of power. But at the end of the day, I'm not really mad about it because I didn't want the position anyways. I just wanted the money, and my greedy ass self was gonna be fucking miserable for a paycheck. I'm okay. And also, that really goes to show the kind of people that would be working under me. Would I ever have been respected? Probably not. So I didn't want to have to fight tooth and nail just to feel like a sense of that, like I really am a manager at this job. I'm good, man. I'm good. I didn't want it in the first place. I didn't ask for it. I didn't work extra hard to get that position. I just work. I clock in. I do what you tell me to do. And then I clock out and I go home. And this is the first job where I don't really like any of my coworkers. Outside of work, I wouldn't hang out with you because we are just simply not in the same space. 6'7". Anyways, we are just simply not in the same space. And there's nothing wrong with you. It's just I would not hang out with you outside of work. And that's why I don't. I hang out with like 2 or 3 people outside of my coworkers outside of work. And that's because they brought me in or I brought them in. So we were friends before outside of work. We'd known each other before work. So, and again, nothing wrong with my coworkers. A lot of us just don't have the same outlook on life. So I simply don't reach out to them after work because I don't think that we would get along very well. But I do interact with them. Like, you know, we have good conversation, and I mean, like, I'm making playlists for one of my coworkers just so that she can discover something outside of country music and things like that. But, you know, I don't think I'd hang out with these people if I had the choice. And I don't. And I hope they don't take offense to that, or if any of y'all ever see this, I hope you don't take offense to it. I just simply don't see the world the same way as you, and I feel like us hanging out wouldn't really go down super well. So, and I don't like making people feel uncomfortable. So, and whenever I do that, I do feel very guilty. But like at the same time, if I make you feel uncomfortable and you don't tell me in the moment, how am I ever supposed to know? And so I would prefer people to tell me so that I don't make the same mistakes twice. So it's just one of those things. And, you know, work is work. You show up to get paid. And so I don't really take offense to things that happen at work. I separate it from my home life. And I only recently learned how to do that, but I want to do that as a career. I want to teach people how to separate their work and home life, and to make sure that they don't feel like they have to bring work home with them, because you shouldn't live to work. You should work to live. Yeah, you should work to live. So, and as much as I don't like my stepdad right now, growing up, seeing the stress that he was put under, and seeing the physical effects that it had on him, it was not great. He had to have a heart monitor on him to make sure that he wasn't having like a mini heart attack or some shit like that. Like, it was fucking wild. And his job is very stressful, or it was, at least. I'm not sure anymore, but he was having pretty tough times. So it's very hard to separate work and home in certain careers, and I want to have the knowledge and the power to help people separate that, like, especially like doctors and ER trauma nurses and doctors. And my stepdad works for the VA, so sometimes those people who were in the military, who were trained to kill other people, sometimes they don't have the best mental health, and they get dangerous and they get violent. And that was my stepdad's job. And you know, he had to deal with a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of stuff, especially at a younger age. So if I can teach people how to alleviate that stress and how to go home and not, essentially I'd be almost like a PTSD type person, but like maybe like a trauma counselor. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out, but I specifically want to work with people who just need to learn how to like segregate their home and work life. So, and I feel like I personally have figured out ways how to do that. And so, like, I already, as somebody who grew up with a mom, which I love my mom. I love my mom, and I love how she raised me. But, and she has told me before, she feels like she prioritized work over her family. And, you know, some of that is true. Some of that is true. She definitely was not home a lot because they would send her out to go do work trips, and she would, you know, I'd be at home with my stepdad, and you know, it wasn't the best, but it showed me that hard work is worth it, but also that, you know, it's possible to balance that out. And it might be a little bit cruel of companies to send out their employees for weeks at a time who have family. So maybe I could teach the head honchos of said companies that hire me that, like, hey, you know, like, maybe you should do some research on your employees and see who you're sending out, who has a family and who doesn't. Who needs the money, who doesn't, type stuff. Ask people first before you just assign them. You know, think about the humanity before you just tell people what to do. So yeah, I feel like just a lot of my childhood and the way how I was brought up and the way how I view the world now is really shaping the way how my career is going to go. But that's the point, right? Like, that's what you should do. So yeah, I want to get to that. I'm just very tired, and I'm afraid that I'm not going to feel any better. So I think if I still feel the same way at this time next year, and I haven't applied for grad school yet, I'm just going to apply anyways. and go get a master's here in Corpus, get my master's, and then start applying for grad school and get another master's somewhere else. I would like to go to Chicago. If Zohran Mamdani really does make New York affordable again, maybe New York will be on the palette. I was looking at Boston. I was even looking in Canada because I might be able to seek asylum because I'm a trans person, and use, their healthcare system to help myself out, which that's the point, right? You're supposed to leave the country to go to a better one for more opportunity. So America is not the best right now, as we all know. And other countries are saying that we're in a civil war and that we're not getting fed proper information. So it's very worrisome. And yeah, I don't think I like it very much, but they say, they say leave the country if you don't like it. They are stopping people from getting passports and from having dual citizenship. Mind you, Trump's wife and one of his sons is a citizen of Slovenia, out of all fucking places. Slovenia? Okay, so they wouldn't even be legal in the United States after that. Does that make sense? No, but it's happening. Or at least they're trying to make it happen. So it's like, fuck off. So, I've been talking for way too long. It's been 30 minutes of me filming this fucking shit, and there's just so much going on. And, yeah, I've never felt lonelier in my life, but at the same time, it's really helping me just figure out who I am and who I want to be and how I want to proceed in the future. And I think it's good for me. And I think that I will not be a victim of said male loneliness epidemic. I fucking hate that term. I think it's so stupid. But because I try my best every day to be the best man I can be. I try to take other people's feelings and space into consideration. And I'm very aware of the space that I take up physically and mentally and emotionally in people's lives. So, I try not to make other people feel lessened by me. And it's kind of hard, it's like constant monitoring and a lot of kindness that doesn't get returned, and that's okay. It's exhausting sometimes, and I can understand why fragile young men will turn to the alt-right pipeline. Well, I know I will never be influenced by something like that, but I understand how people's minds can get so weak that they do, if that makes sense. So, and I do honestly feel a little bit empathetic, whatever, for these boys at the end of the day, because they are just simply not strong-minded enough to turn their brains from that. But at the same time, that's their choice. I choose to be kind and to be good and to try my best every day. And some people don't. And a lot of those people are surfacing now. So just be careful who you hang out with and what you do, and always think about the choices that you're making and the actions that you have and whether or not they're going to affect other people. Because a lot of times they do. And even whenever I'm alone, I always make sure that I do the right thing, even if no one's watching, because you never know if someone is watching. And even if somebody is not watching, it doesn't matter. You should want to do the right thing anyways. And the fact that some people don't do that is just sad. It just saddens my soul. So I try to make up for all the wrongs in the world by trying to do everything right all the time. And I'm not gonna lie, it's really hard. It's really hard and it's really exhausting and it's very unrewarding. And I feel like my soul is being tested a lot. And it's just a lot. It's just a lot, especially now that I pass in society as a male. It's like even more of a weight is put on my shoulders because men are expected to act a certain way. And whenever I don't act that way, people start to question. And it's like, well, do I really have to tell you that I'm transgender to let you know that I'm just like not a shitty fucking person? Like, it sucks. And I have to out myself often just for people to feel comfortable around me, and it sucks. So, I don't know, because people just don't believe that good men exist. And I'm trying to change that. So, yeah. I guess that's all I have to say for now. I just don't want to lose my queer identity, and I don't want to be separated from that because I feel like it's very important in my life, and it guided me, and it led me to be the person that I am today. So, yeah, I've just been thinking a lot about that. But I'm gonna cut it here because it's already about to hit 40. So, but yeah. Anyways, hopefully nobody's watching this. But yeah, I will do this again soon. See ya.